I'm really sorry that I couldn't make the trip and be with you, and I hope you're having a great time. I know you're enjoying touching base with old friends and hopefully making some new ones. And I'm sure you're enjoying the facilities of this building. I had many good years at Wesley, very good to me, and there's no way that I can reminisce in this brief time with all of them. But I want to talk to you about the building itself. When I came in 1960, the Wesley was poised for a new building. They'd been trying for many years, and thanks to the good work of Ashland Shaw and Powers McLeod and some other people, we were finally in a position to make that happen. So when I hit the scene, my first year was in the old building, and it was in terrible shape. I mean terrible shape. On the third floor, the top floor, the walls did not reach the ceiling in places, and actually a 3-4 inch gap. The Alabama West Florida Conference and the North Alabama Conference were engaged in a crusade for higher education for Birmingham Southern, Huntington College, and we got in on the action. And because of some finagling and behind-the-scenes work, we worked it out so that the Wesley Foundation at Auburn would get the first $150,000 to go toward building the new building. So that helped. We were terribly excited. We hired the architect. He developed the scale model for a contemporary type architecture, or as one of my former friends said, contentious type architecture, and developed a model for us. And I took that model of the building all over the Alabama West Florida Conference to district meetings and preachers meetings to get interest and to raise the additional funding that we needed to build the building. And I can remember being at one preachers meeting when a friend of mine said rather disdainfully, when he looked at the model, "Where are you going to put the Gulf oil sign?" And I said, "Well, Charles," I said, it strikes me that I would much rather the Wesley Foundation, the campus ministry, be a service station than a monastery where people can retreat from life. I didn't come to Wesley to be a nursery care provider for young adults. And that stuck. And that's an image that I'd like to leave with you, because that's exactly what, in my judgment, happened. The building was great. I could tell all kinds of stories about how the building came about and some of the problems we had. One I do want to remember, John Keyes was here at the time, and I can remember when the plans were drawn up, and as they started construction of the building, when they put the heating units in, John came to me one day and he said, "Max," he said, "the furnace is going through a malfunction cycle." And I said, John, I don't know what a malfunction cycle is. And he was explaining to me in technical terms why the furnace was not going to work the way it was designed. And finally, after a while, I said, "John, are you telling me that it won't work?" And although it pained him to say it that way, that's exactly what he said. So we called the engineer who had designed this, and sure enough, John was right. And we were saved a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of problems. The building was wonderful for us. I remember the Sunday night suppers. That's where Charles Watley introduced us to barbecued goat. I could go on and on. The decision not to put an altar in at the main level, but a ping pong table instead. And I can remember trying in my way to play ping pong with Saeed and T-Bird and some of the others. The building itself was a refuge. People came over here when Batman was popular on TV, and we had a color TV. That was where people would flock over. They'd come watch Batman, and then they would leave. That's where Betty Holiday watched her soaps, I think. But it was we played ping pong. We had drama. All of the things that you were still doing and probably doing, and obviously doing much better. But through the whole thing, some of the discussions that we had about the meaning of life, the deepening of faith, those are the things that were part of what I consider to be a deep and meaningful spiritual formation. And for many of you who participated in that, in those beginning years of the building, I hope you'll remember that and carry that with you wherever you go. You've gone so many places, done so many things. I wish I had the time and could share with you what my pilgrimage has been and find out where you have been. But I hope one image that you'll carry with you is no matter how nice and functional and useful the building is, that's not the church. That may be the place where we strategize. That may be the place where we begin and develop relationships. But that we go from that to carry the love and the compassion of Christ that we've learned here into the rest of the world. And I am absolutely astounded at what the Wesley Foundation is doing today in reaching to all parts of the world with the love and the joy of Christ. I wish you well. Sorry I couldn't be here, but I remember you well.